Hi, so today I'm going to take you through a quick run through of the Invisible Drum software. So let's go ahead and download this. Remember that the Invisible Drum software is Wiimote only. It doesn't require an iPhone. For some people who don't have an iPhone, this makes it a lot easier, especially because then you have many fewer programs to interact with. So I'm going to go ahead and unzip the file that you can download directly from the Invisible Instruments website. Once you open this folder, see inside there are 4 files. First, open the Drums OSC file. This is a file for the software Osculator that at this point I'm assuming that you've already downloaded. Connecting your Wiimote is very simple. Just click Start Discovery, and then click on the 1 and 2 button on your Wiimote. And when the lights stop blinking, they've connected. So we're going to do the same thing with the other Wiimote. And just allow them to connect. Might take a second. Okay. Once that's completely done, we don't need that anymore. So let's go ahead and open the Invisible Drum software. Now this is a Max window because the program was built in Max MSP. And so this will just give you any binding port messages, any error messages that you might need to see if you want to know what exactly is going on. So the program is actually 2 instances of the same program, for 1 per Wiimote. So for now we'll just focus on Wiimote number 1. Up here on your top right where it says Wiimote 1 presets, these are presets, these are configurations of everything below that you can change quickly between during real-time play. So if we click down on our D-pad, the cross corresponds to the D-pad on your Wiimote. Then we see that a regular hit, a downward hit, corresponds to MIDI note 44, which is the hi-hat default. And then if we hold down A, if you look over here where it says A button, hold down A, press and hold, we get the snare sound. By default in the down preset, the B button is bass. The minus button, if you hold it down, press and hold, hit, is a crash. Now these are the general MIDI presets for a standard drum set on your computer MIDI. But should you be using a different MIDI drum set, you might want to switch these around to get the sounds that you want. Now from down, look at our top left again. We're going to click on left on our D-pad, or you can click using your mouse on 4, and we find that regular hitting without pushing any buttons is a snare. Hold down A, it's the hi-hat, and again the B button is the bass, and you hold down minus and hit, and it's the crash. Now these can all be changed. If you want to make your own preset, so let's say in this case we'll go to the up preset right here, just click on it, and right now this is set so the A button triggers a snare, a fixed velocity snare. The B button triggers the bass note. Say I don't like this. I'd rather this be press and hold, meaning it does nothing when I click it, but if I click it and then go downwards, then it's going to make a noise, but I don't like the sound. So let's change it to, sure, let's say I like this sound better. If I want to keep this and store it in the up configuration, then I click Store Up. Then every time I go back to up, that is the configuration I'll get. And as I said before, this is so in real time you can switch between, say, hi-hat, bass, and snare to maybe tom-toms or to cowbell if that's what you so desire. So you have 4 presets you're allowed to work with, and the center button is the default. So let's go through a little bit more. On the left, you hit. On the right, the on and off simply turns on whether that button or movement is active or not. Down, up, left, and right, these are actions of the Wiimote. So down is down, up to the left, to the right. So going back to this program, so if you want to turn them all on, we'll set the MIDI note all to output 44, which corresponds to a hi-hat. Let me see if we go down, it hits up, left, right. But normally you don't want to leave so many on, or else you're going to end up with excessive noises. Say when I hit the plus, I want this to correspond to this note, a different bass. Or you can also type directly into these. And every button on the Wiimote can correspond to a different sound. Now, on and off is different than press and hold because press and hold, like I said, does not actually... If you have this selected, when you hit the button, it makes no noise. But if you hit it and then do a downward action, as in you're hitting the actual note, then you'll get the corresponding note. So by holding plus right now, if I hit it normally, I get a hi-hat. Then if I hold plus, then hit it again, I get a crash. Hold A, I get a snare. Okay? Fixed velocity. So right now these are all set at a preset velocity. So if you want a very unchanging baseline, leave this checked. Remember velocity, and as with all MIDI values, they go from 1 to 128. So you can change all of them, say I want it all a little louder, all a little softer. But if you want a little more real drum-like experience, uncheck this fixed velocity box. Because then as you tap lightly, it's softer, and it corresponds exactly with your speed. For people who are still getting the hang of what speed they should actually hit at, it's often helpful to just leave the fixed velocity checked. Duration, this is in milliseconds. So if you want the note to last 500 milliseconds, half a second, then leave it set. Most percussion noises don't go beyond 500 milliseconds, so you should be fine with this preset. Finally, in the top left we have our oscillator send port. Now this is defaulted to 9000 as the preset file that you opened before for oscillator. Drums OSC is also preset at 9000, so you shouldn't have to touch this. But say I don't want to deal with the default synth, which is AU DLS Synth 1. This is default synthesizer that comes with a Mac computer, and I want to send it to a different program. Then just go down to From Invisible Drums 1, and it'll output to, on this MIDI channel 10, to whatever programs you happen to have open, GarageBand, Logic, Pro Tools, whatever have you. If you want to restore all your MIDI values back, just click this and it'll send it all back to its original values. I hope that was informative. If you have any questions, just write it on our forum and I should get back to you. If you're not registered for the forum, feel free to shoot me an email at tasui@gmail.com. Thanks!